Oh boy, some Democrats labeling these Americans vigilantes, even thugs, and mobs.
But weren't some of those tactics used by Democrats to protest Bush administration policies a lot more extreme than these town hall protests? Michelle Malkin joins us live from Denver with her thoughts this morning. Good morning to you, Michelle.
Good morning, Gretchen.
You know, it's always an interesting process, depending on who's in the White House. I mean, I guess that we see this from both sides of the fence from time to time, but I have to say that this looks a little bit more odd because these are just regular American citizens coming to voice their opinions, and according to Barbara Boxer out of California, they're even well-dressed.
Well, I guess if they dressed like the new Black Panther Party, then that would make them more legitimate. I don't know. But it's quite interesting. I just had to laugh when I saw so many of these Democrats and liberal operatives screaming about mob rule when that's all we've had the last 8 years from the left. I saw that during the tease you showed the mob at Columbia University shutting down speech of somebody who believes in national security and strong borders. We've seen that everywhere with the anti-war fraudsters intimidating Marines and recruitment centers across the country as well. And if you want to talk about civic vigilantism, let's talk about Acorn and their tactics, their brute tactics of breaking into homes in the name of social justice. Where was the left to decry that?
You're not suggesting, though, Michelle, that people should emulate what was happened at my alma mater at Columbia University, that protesters of health care should act in that way, are you?
No, of course not. In fact, what I'm doing is pointing out that the true mob rule has been on the other side. What is mobbish about people coming to public forums, congressional town halls, and being very insistent and persistent about challenging the talking points of the people who are trying to sell Obamacare? That's participatory democracy.
Sure. Well, I mean, let's face it, the mainstream media tried to diminish the Tea Parties that have happened, and now they're trying to do the same thing with this, as are the Democrats as well. Michelle, stand by, because coming up after a brief time out, the deal is done. Cash for Clunkers is getting big bucks to stay on the road, but this, the question is, does it really help the American auto industry or the Japanese? And if you notice, she's got a little bit of a smile this morning. Perhaps it could be because Michelle Malkin, who's joining us right now from Denver, her new book, Culture of Corruption, debuts at #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. And Michelle, that has got to drive the New York Times absolutely nuts. Congratulations.
Probably. Thanks. And, you know, I've been so grateful for all the support that Fox News has shown, and readers and viewers. I think it really shows that the winds of change are blowing, and the fact that there are so many conservative and alternative voices now on the New York Times bestseller list.
Well, one thing that's not changing too much on Capitol Hill is spending a whole heck of a lot of money. And it looks
That's true, Gretchen.
It looks like the Cash for Clunkers program, just another $2 billion. They're going to add it in there through Labor Day. And I know you have some thoughts on that, especially with regard to the cars that are selling. They're not really American cars. They may be made here, but Toyota is all over the top 5.
That's right. They top the list, and it calls into question both the economic and environmental benefits of this program, which are pretty much nil. And the idea that it's sold as some sort of government success shows you just how knee-deep we are in this idea that central planning is the way that this economy should be run. It is a straight subsidy. It is an auto welfare entitlement program, and it's nothing less than that. And of course, yeah, the Senate is preparing now to dump another $2 billion into these cash subsidies, when, especially at a time when we should be encouraging Americans to save money, not spend it, and take advantage of this government cheese.
Well, if we save money, how is the economy going to get out of the doldrums that it's in? And then the second part, in terms of the environmental friendliness, isn't there a very high MPG in terms of the average of these cars that are being sold as a result of this, like 25 or 26 miles per gallon?
Well, actually, folks have looked at the cars that are being bought and the consequences of the program. And one thing that's happening is that completely usable cars are being destroyed. And, you know, even some of the lefties are casting doubt on the environmental benefits here. In fact, if people were not buying cars and buying something else entirely, that probably would be better for the environmental bottom line.
Yeah, interesting stuff. All right, Michelle Malkin joining us today from Denver. We thank you very much. Michelle, do you think you've said anything in your two-segment blocks here that will result on you being flagged to the White House today?
I've probably got 100 flags by my name, and you guys have 50 today.
I've put a call into the Truth Police, and they will be contacting you very, very soon. The Truth Police are on the way. Do you hear the sirens?
Michelle, thanks. Always great to see you. The massive
Thanks, you too.
stimulus spending was supposed